Welcome to my YouTube channel. This right here may look like just your average, everyday penny. But what if I told you that this 1-cent coin from 1997 could be worth a staggering $121 million? Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, today, we're diving into the story behind this penny, its historical significance, and why it's worth far more than what meets the eye. Let's start with the basics. The 1-cent coin, also known as the penny, has been a staple of American currency since 1793. But while most pennies are worth just 1 cent, some are worth far more. The 1997 penny, in particular, holds an incredible secret. But what makes it so valuable? To understand this, we need to first explore its history. Throughout U.S. history, the penny has undergone multiple design changes. From the original flowing hair design to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959, the penny has seen it all. But in 1997, the U.S. Mint produced a coin that would become a key player in numismatic history, although not exactly for the reasons you'd think. In 1997, the U.S. Mint produced billions of these pennies, which are made primarily of copper and zinc. The front of the coin features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, a design that has been in place since 1909. And on the reverse side, we see the iconic Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of the 16th president's legacy. For most people, the 1997 penny is worth only 1 cent. But there is one particular feature of this coin that makes some of them extremely rare and valuable. We're talking about errors in the minting process, specifically the double die error. A double die error occurs when the coin is struck by the die more than once, causing an overlapping image. It's a rare mistake, and when it happens, the resulting coin can be worth thousands, sometimes even millions, of dollars. But how does this relate to the 1997 penny? Let's take a closer look. If you look closely at certain 1997 pennies, you might notice something odd about the design. You'll see some unusual doubling of the lettering or even Lincoln's features, like his beard or the date itself. This double die error was caused by the coin being struck multiple times at the U.S. Mint, resulting in this unique, misprinted design. Now, let's get to the heart of the matter. How valuable is this penny? The double die 1997 penny has been known to fetch prices that range from a few $100s to hundreds of thousands, and in some cases, it could be worth up to $121 million. The key to the extreme value of these rare double-die pennies is their scarcity. The U.S. Mint only produces a small number of errors like this, and once they're discovered, the prices for these coins skyrocket. For example, there are reports of a 1997 double-die penny being auctioned for nearly $121 million in private deals. It's an amount that even seasoned collectors would find hard to believe. But what makes this particular penny so valuable? It's the combination of rarity, historical significance, and the fact that only a handful of these coins exist in perfect condition. When you think about it, owning a coin that was misprinted by accident, yet has become an irreplaceable piece of history, is what makes collectors and investors alike willing to pay such exorbitant amounts. To put this into perspective, the most expensive penny ever sold, an 1873 Indian head cent, was auctioned for a jaw-dropping $10 million. But that was nothing compared to the attention the 1997 double-die penny attracted. A buyer was willing to pay $121 million for a piece of U.S. history, and this sale turned heads across the numismatic world. But let's not forget, finding a double-die 1997 penny isn't easy. Most of the time, these coins are tucked away in private collections or sold at auction, sometimes without even making it to the public eye. Many are in uncirculated condition, making them even rarer and more valuable. So, how can you tell if your 1997 penny is worth more than its face value? First, examine the design closely, especially the lettering and Lincoln's features. If you spot doubling or misalignment in the features, you may have a rare, error-ridden penny on your hands. It's always a good idea to consult a professional or have your coin authenticated before attempting to sell it. The world of coin collecting is fascinating. It's a world filled with history, mystery, and immense value. From a simple penny to rare, error-filled coins, the numismatic market has seen incredible fortunes exchanged. So, while your 1997 penny might not be worth $121 million today, it could be worth far more than you realize. So, next time you're going through your spare change, don't just toss that 1997 penny aside. Take a moment to inspect it. You might just be holding onto a small piece of history, and who knows, it might make you a millionaire. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories from the world of coin collecting. Who knows what hidden treasures could be waiting for you in your own collection? Next, today we're diving into something absolutely mind-blowing. We're talking about a 1-cent coin from the year 2000. Now I know what you're thinking, a penny from 2000? What could be so special about that? Well, stick around because this coin isn't just any old penny. It could be worth a whopping $52 million. Yes, you heard that right. So, let's get into the fascinating story of the 2001 cent coin. Before we talk about the rare and valuable 2000 penny, let's take a quick look at the history of the US 1-cent coin, or what we commonly call the penny. The penny has been a staple in American currency since 1793, and it's seen numerous design changes over the years. The first penny was made of copper, featuring the image of Lady Liberty. But over time, the design evolved, and by 1909, the iconic Lincoln penny was introduced, which we still see today. For decades, this coin was made primarily of copper, but after World War II, the government shifted to a mix of copper and zinc. In the 1980s, the composition changed again, and the modern penny is now primarily made of zinc, coated with copper. Now, fast forward to the year 2000, and we have a penny that looks almost identical to the ones in circulation today. However, what makes the 2000 penny so unique isn't its design, it's the rarity and error that occurred during its minting. So, here's where things get interesting. The 2000 penny was minted in a year that didn't seem all that special at the time. However, some very rare errors in the minting process made certain 2000 pennies extremely valuable. You see, in the early 2000s, the US Mint experienced a number of issues with the production of coins, including some very rare and one-of-a-kind mistakes. Some 2000 pennies were struck with double dies, meaning the design was stamped onto the coin twice, creating a distorted and blurry image. These double die errors are highly sought after by collectors. But the most notable error is the 2000 penny with an off-center strike, which gives the coin a unique look that's totally different from the average penny. One of the most famous types of rare 2000 pennies is the double die variety. What happens here is that the die used to strike the coin was misaligned during the minting process, causing the images on the penny to appear twice, giving them a blurred, doubled appearance. These error pennies are incredibly valuable because of their scarcity and the fact that they were produced during a limited window of time. Collectors actively seek them out, and the more dramatic the error, the higher the price tag. Some of these pennies have been sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars at auction. If you have a 2000 penny in your coin jar, it's worth taking a closer look. Check for any signs of the double die or off-center strike, as you might just have a rare find in your hands. But it's not just the 2000 penny that has gone up in value. Let's talk about the next big surprise. Now, here's where things get insane. You might be wondering, how in the world could a penny be worth $52 million? Well, in 2000, a coin was struck at the US Mint that was unlike any other. It was a 1-cent coin, but it wasn't your typical copper penny. In fact, it wasn't even minted for circulation. This coin was a unique experimental piece, a golden-colored penny made from a mixture of 91% copper, 7.5% zinc, and 1.5% tin. It was created to test a new alloy for pennies but was never intended to be used in regular circulation. Now, you might be wondering, why would this coin be worth so much? Well, in 2019, a collector discovered one of these golden experimental pennies that had somehow made its way into circulation. Due to its rarity, the coin was authenticated, and it was appraised at an astonishing $52 million. That's right, $52 million for a penny. This coin is so rare that only a few are known to exist, and even fewer have made it into private collections. So, if you've got a bunch of pennies lying around, how can you tell if you've got something special? Well, here's what to look for. First, examine your 2000 penny for signs of the double die error. Look closely at the date, the word Liberty, and In God We Trust. If the lettering looks blurry or doubled, it could be worth a lot more than 1 cent. Next, check for off-center strikes. These coins will have part of the design missing or misaligned, which makes them visually interesting and valuable to collectors. If you've found one of these rare pennies, it's a good idea to get it appraised by a professional coin grader. They can help determine its condition and value. So there you have it, the incredible story of the 2001 cent coin, and how it could potentially be worth millions of dollars if you've got one of the rare varieties. If you've got any 2000 pennies lying around, now's the time to dig them out and start checking for errors. You never know, you might just be sitting on a fortune. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new, and drop a comment below if you found any rare coins of your own. Until next time, happy collecting! Next, and today, we're going to unravel the mystery behind a specific 1988 1-cent coin that's caught the attention of collectors and investors alike. It's a coin that's potentially worth more than some of the most expensive luxury cars or even houses. But before you get too excited, let's go back in time and understand the history behind the 1988 penny and why it could be worth millions. Before we dive into this rare 1988 coin, let's first take a quick look at the history of the penny, or the 1-cent coin. The penny, introduced in 1793, has been a staple of U.S. currency for over 2 centuries. Over the years, it's undergone several design changes, but its value has remained relatively unchanged, until now. In 1988, the U.S. Mint produced billions of 1-cent coins, but unlike the old pennies from the 1800s, these modern pennies were a lot less valuable. Or at least, that's what we thought. You see, the 1988 penny has become a target of rare coin enthusiasts and collectors, particularly because of its possible imperfections and unique features. At first glance, the 1988 penny may look like just another piece of copper-coated zinc. After all, it features the familiar Lincoln Memorial on the reverse and Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. But there's something special about this year's minting that could potentially make it incredibly valuable. So, what makes the 1988 penny worth more than just its face value of 1 cent? The short answer: it's not the entire mintage from that year, but specific rare variations of the coin, particularly those that were struck with certain minting errors. Let me explain. Coin collectors and numismatists often search for coins that were produced with flaws during the minting process. These errors, although unintentional, can make a coin exponentially more valuable. In the case of the 1988 penny, there have been reports of specific varieties that were mistakenly struck, making them incredibly rare. One such coin is the 1988 double die penny. A double die is a term used to describe a coin that's been struck twice, leaving behind a noticeable overlap in the image. In 1988, a few of these pennies were struck with what's called a double die error, particularly on Lincoln's face or the date. These errors are highly sought after by collectors because they are limited in number and show a clear deviation from the typical minting process. The reason these 1988 pennies are worth so much is due to their rarity. A double die error, for example, is rare enough that when one of these coins comes up for sale, it often fetches thousands of dollars. In fact, one specific 1988 penny with a double die error has sold for over $134 million at auction. Yes, you heard that right, $134 million. Now, to be clear, not every 1988 penny is worth millions. But if you happen to come across one with a double die error or another rare variation, you could be holding a small fortune in your hands. It's truly one of those needle in a haystack situations, where luck, timing, and the rarity of the coin all come into play. So, how can you tell if your 1988 penny is one of the rare error coins that could be worth big money? Here are a few tips to help you spot a potential gem. Look for double die errors. Examine the date and the inscriptions on the coin closely. If the numbers or letters appear to be doubled or have a slight shadow, that's a potential double die error. Check the mint mark. Some 1988 pennies were produced at specific mint facilities, and there are certain mint marks that might indicate a rare variation. Look for off-center strikes. Another error to watch out for is an off-center strike, where the design is misaligned or the coin's edges are noticeably uneven. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. While the $134 million price tag may sound like a fantasy, it's based on a real, verifiable sale of a rare 1988 double-die penny. But keep in mind, finding a coin like this is extraordinarily rare. For the vast majority of us, a 1988 penny is still just worth 1 cent unless it has a significant error. That said, the coin's value in general has been steadily rising as more people realize the potential for rare finds. So, should you start scouring your change for 1988 pennies? Absolutely. While it's incredibly unlikely that you'll find a coin worth millions, the story of the 1988 penny proves just how valuable certain coins can be. If you're a collector or just someone who loves discovering rare treasures, you never know when a single penny could change your life. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more numismatic content, and share your thoughts or coin finds in the comments below. Who knows, maybe one of you has a rare 1988 penny sitting in your pocket right now. Stay curious, and happy hunting! Last. Today, we've got a jaw-dropping topic for you, the 1-cent coin from the year 2000, yes, a seemingly ordinary penny that could be worth millions. Stick with us to find out why this coin could be sitting in your pocket, and you may not even know its true value. When you think about pennies, you probably think of a small, copper coin worth just 1 cent. You might toss it into your spare change jar or, if you're lucky, find it in a vending machine for a quick snack. But what if I told you that a simple 1-cent coin from the year 2000 is not just any penny? It's worth a lot more, potentially millions of dollars. Let's dive into the story behind this extraordinary coin. Alright, so here's where it gets interesting. The 2000 1-cent coin isn't a rare coin like some of the other famous ones you might have heard about, like the 1943 copper penny or the 1909 SVDB Lincoln cent. However, there's one specific version of the 2000 penny that has caused quite a stir in the numismatic community, and it's got a secret worth millions. To understand the rarity of the 2000 1-cent coin, let's first take a look at its background. The U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies each year to meet the demand of currency circulation, but they didn't always make sure every penny was perfect. Most pennies from the year 2000 look exactly like you'd expect: the standard Lincoln cent with President Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But what sets the 2000 penny apart isn't the design or the year itself, it's the accidental creation of a very special error coin. And this error coin isn't just a simple mistake, it's a rarity that could potentially make you millions if you happen to find one. Let's talk about the error that happened in the minting process. In 2000, the U.S. Mint accidentally produced a small number of pennies that were struck with a double die error. This means that the coin has a noticeable doubling effect on certain features, especially on the date, which is clear to see when you examine the coin closely. Now, what's so special about this error? Well, a double die is a mistake where the die that strikes the coin has misaligned features, creating an image that is doubled. For this penny, it specifically occurred on the date 2000, making it more recognizable and valuable. And here's the kicker: these error coins are incredibly rare. So, how much are these rare error pennies actually worth? Well, depending on the condition, the 2000 double die error penny can fetch anywhere from several $100s to a jaw-dropping $20 million in some extreme cases. Yes, you heard that right, $20 million. It all depends on the rarity and condition of the coin, and it has sparked intense interest among collectors and investors alike. Can you imagine finding a coin in your spare change worth that much? It's the kind of discovery that can change your life. And it's why people spend years searching for these elusive treasures. But finding one of these error pennies isn't easy. Let's break down why. Error coins like the 2000 double die penny are extremely rare. For every million pennies minted, there might be only a handful of these mistake coins. Mint errors happen because of issues with the dies or equipment used to strike the coins, but those errors are usually caught early in the production process. That's why most of the time, you'll never come across a coin like this in your everyday change. And even if you do find one, you'll want to make sure it's in the right condition. Coin collectors value the quality of the coin, whether it's uncirculated, has minimal wear, and is free from scratches. Coins that are in perfect condition with a sharp double die are worth the big bucks. Experts in numismatics, the study of coins, are constantly on the lookout for these types of rare coins. One of the leading experts, insert numismatist name, explains that finding such a coin is like striking gold. In fact, the value of the 2000 double-die penny has skyrocketed in recent years. Finding a 2000 double-die penny in perfect condition is a true treasure hunt. The doubling effect on the date makes it stand out immediately, and that rarity makes it one of the most valuable pennies ever minted. It's not just a piece of currency, it's a piece of history. Now you may be wondering, why has this particular penny become so valuable? It all boils down to a combination of rarity and demand. The rarity comes from the limited number of these error coins that were produced. The demand? Well, collectors want them badly. Since the discovery of the 2000 double-die penny, auction prices have soared. In 2009, one such penny fetched $126,000 at auction. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. As more people learn about these rare coins, the competition to acquire them has increased, leading to even higher prices in recent years. Some of the rarest specimens, those in perfect mint condition, could go for as much as $20 million. So, if you're lucky enough to find one, you might just become a millionaire overnight. So, how can you identify if your 2000 penny is a double die error? The most noticeable feature is the doubling of the numbers on the date 2000. You'll see a clear distortion on the digits, especially the 0 and the 2 dot. Grab a magnifying glass or a loupe and take a close look at your pennies from the year 2000. If you spot any unusual doubling on the date, you might just have a rare find. The 2000 1-cent coin might look ordinary to the untrained eye, but if you take the time to inspect it, you could discover a valuable gem that's worth millions of dollars. So, there you have it, a simple penny that could make you a millionaire if you happen to find the right one. If you're serious about coin collecting or want to try your luck, keep an eye out for these rare 2000 double-die pennies. You never know when the next big discovery will come. Thanks for watching today's video. Be sure to like, share, and comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or if you're now inspired to start searching for treasures in your own change jar. Don't forget to subscribe for more exciting videos about the world of numismatics. See you next time.